The game was on Saturday. It's Tuesday evening. We all know the sad story and what happened in Boulder. Okay. This is another Huskers edition right here, the voice of college football, number 137. Greg Peterson making it work for us as he always does. I think, Greg, you are 137-0, something close to that. So we appreciate Greg making this happen each and every Tuesday. Otherwise, we don't have a show. You can catch Greg's work at Husker Online. We got Justin Adams joining us tonight. You can catch him on the post game right here at the Voice of College Football, and also on, of course, Cheesy Corn Sports right here on a YouTube as well. Gentlemen, considering the circumstances, how we doing tonight?
Doing all right. I'm actually feeling better than most, I think, about everything. I'm somewhat optimistic.
Yeah, I'm just tired and burned out from another Tuesday at Nebraska. So, forcing your way through the day.
Yeah.
Is that a hint that we shouldn't do the show on Tuesday?
No. I just the way they have things set up now with the players' press conference on Tuesdays, it just zaps you. I mean, it takes them forever to get the guys there, and most of the team has classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Long day.
It's just I was there at 10 o'clock, and the first player that went was I think at like 12:10 or so, which was Thomas Fedoni. So yeah, it makes for a long day. You feel like you've wasted your day away.
Is this team talking and walking around like an 0-2 team?
Not really. I mean, I think everybody knows they're a pretty good football team, and they've got things to work on, and they think it's just a matter of time. They're all confident, and nobody's down. So, no, I mean, I think the fan base is more down than the players are.
Yeah, I would have to agree. But it's quite usual to see Husker Twitter meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, understandably so. We've exercised patience for 5 years, but I think that carried over into this coaching staff, and people got to kind of reset that and understand that it was never supposed to be quick. Matt Rhule even said that yesterday.
Yeah, he says that. He admits to that.
He said that yesterday. He's like, listen, this is what you hired me to do.
Right.
This is what I was hired for. And he didn't try to say it would be a quick turnaround. That was always his thing.
Look at his track record. His first years at Temple and at Baylor were pretty awful. So,
yep. But he's one of the 4 coaches actually now, including Dion, to start his turn a 1-win team into a 2-0 team. So interesting that they're both in that conversation.
Yeah, really.
So,
well, everybody wants to talk about Jeff Sims first and foremost. So, Greg, we'll start with you in regards to your thoughts about his play and all the players and coaches' comments following.
Yeah, well, I thought the thing that was interesting yesterday is that Matt Rhule said, Jeff's our starter. And, if he wasn't hurt, it wouldn't be an issue. And the whole team's behind him. But, obviously you can't put the ball on the ground like he was. I mean, he a guy that basically leads the nation in turnovers single-handedly. Obviously, Nebraska leads the nation in turnovers. And on the flip side, they're tied for the lead in sacks. So it's kind of strange. You're sitting there at 0-2. I was kind of wondering, too. Nobody even asked anybody today if Jeff was practicing today. So we don't know the status of him. I don't know if anybody will have the courage to ask coordinators tomorrow about it either. So we might have to wait until Thursday to find out from Coach Rhule. Because, the standing orders, nobody talks about injuries except for the head coach. So usually you can catch a player on it. They're just, with a casual question.
Oh, sorry, I lost my camera.
But that's a cool logo.
I don't know why that popped in there.
I don't know, but
It just stopped for some reason. I apologize.
But this guy's had a pattern of this coming from Georgia Tech, and at a certain point, I know everybody just clamoring at the bit to try to get him out of there. But the coaches all stand behind him, and the players all stand behind him. And by all signs that he doesn't seem bothered by it. But you just cannot turn the ball over like that in those horrible situations. You give the game away. Basically, you're only down 13-7 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter, and disaster just always seems to strike. And I'm sure that's what Nebraska fans just hate to see. I mean, we all do, but he's still a guy that's a weapon. Obviously running the ball, but if you can't hold on to the ball, what good are you? And that's what they've preached about. You can't fumble the ball. You're not going to play if you fumble the ball. So I don't know. Everybody's behind Heinrich Harburg as well, and Chuba, I guess, has been a little banged up, but he seems to be good to go. And they're confident with both of those guys if they have to play. So we'll see how it goes moving forward.
So there were the 2 snaps that Jeff Sims dropped, just flat out dropped. Now, my thought was there are quarterbacks, we see them every week catching snaps that are behind him and up in the air and all over the place. And he has 2 that, bam, are going to hit him right in the belt buckle and he drops. And then there was the snap that hit the man in motion. Now, I don't know who to assess that to. Did anyone talk about whether was that a Jeff Sims issue or was that the center snapping the ball too early?
He called for the ball while the player was in motion, so it was on him.
Rhule did say that, when talking about that stuff yesterday, he did say that he feels like he didn't prepare them well enough for the silent counts for the road game. He was kind of open about that, so that may have been something to do with some of the issue, but also the fact that he wasn't really jumping on the balls. Matt Rhule said about that.
That was my issue with that first one. He tried to pick it up.
Yeah, and he said
you're in a position to get a field goal. He tried to pick it up and make a play out of it instead of just dropping on it.
Yeah, and Matt Rhule said
the field goal.
Rhule.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Ron Brown had chimed in with Matt Rhule and said that we don't practice that, coach, in practice. And Matt Rhule kind of was like, oh wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah, and he alluded to Cam Newton too, the same thing. But to me, right, because Matt Rhule said he was upset with them during the game, and then until he talked to him about that after, he was then made to understand that we don't have him jumping on the ball in practice, so how can we expect him to do it a game? However, I don't know if part of that was due to a little bit of him just protecting Sims. I feel like some of that could be protecting Sims because I think that's an instinctual thing that people do. Honestly, I just think that.
I mean, if you drop the ball, if you're responsible for it, what do? You jump on it.
Exactly.
You drop on it. I mean,
that's coached into you throughout.
And that's why the one that stings with me is the one where he tried to pick it up.
Yep.
And there was too many other hands right around there anyway for him to get it.
That's rule number 1. Never try to pick the
ball on that one and just cradled it up, and you got the ball and you can kick the field goal.
Live to play another down. That's what it's got to be right now.
Yeah, but apparently, in practice they tell him to get away from it when it gets dropped on the ground, which is kind of alarming to me that it happens a lot in practice.
He said it was, he had mentioned the broken hand. I can't remember who it was.
That was.
And maybe it's to reduce injury risk because
Kerry
Collins, because he did mention that injury, so it could be one of those things they have built in to reduce injury risk. But to your point, like it needs to be done in practice for it to be instinctual and a habit.
So.
because those 3 plays happened. And then the clincher for me in terms of thinking, okay, is Matt Rhule going to make a change, was when Jeff Sims is rolling right. He's staring down the receiver. He has both the receiver covered and he's got a guy between he and the receiver, and he waits and waits and waits and waits, and then he throws it, and he still underthrows it and doesn't get it out close enough to the sideline, of course, and gets picked off for a pick 6. Okay. So I'm thinking at that point, when Rhule stays with Sims, I'm thinking he told us a couple of weeks ago that Harburg and Purdy can win games. But I'm thinking, does he not have confidence in either one of them? And most likely it's going to be Harburg to play in a competitive game, because it was still a winnable game at that point.
I think it might be one of those instances where, oh my Lord, it just keeps making me click start cam at the bottom. So I'm not sure why it keeps doing that. But I think this is one of those things where he went and got Jeff Sims. So I think he might feel the need to maybe stick with him and keep coaching him, maybe, because I think he brought in Sims as kind of a guy he wants to develop anyways. And so I think that may be part of it, where he's just trying to stick with his guy and develop him, because, Harburg, he's been at the university a while, and he still has things that he needs to polish up as well. But I just think that he still feels the most confident in Jeff Sims' ability. I think he believes Sims has the highest upside, just in the way he's talked about him as being, he thinks he can potentially grow him to be a pro quarterback. So I think he has a lot of faith in him, and I think that's just what he sees, is just the upside in Sims, and I think that's part of his plan to get back. It's just we have to hope that what he saw in him was a good evaluation, because it's seemingly the only thing that he kind of may have misstepped is maybe thinking Sims was going to be more ready than he has been. So that's my take on why I think he's just been so reluctant on changing the quarterbacks. And it's week 2. Again, I think I don't think Rhule is as panicky as we are, because again, he's being cool, collected in the press conferences. So I don't think he's feeling that heat that we are, based off emotion. And we're like, switch it now because we want to start winning.
The entire coaching staff is really calm and cool.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's worrying about, about them falling apart or anything like that. And I think, Jeff Sims too, I think Rhule sees that. I mean, you can see it too when you watch all the guys together. That, I mean, he is a specimen. I mean, he has got the most athletic ability out of any of those quarterbacks.
100%.
And is the most dynamic guy that they have, especially in the run game. So, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with his Coach Rhule's hesitancy to put Heinrich Harburg in there. Even though we all know that Heinrich Harburg can run, I mean, that's not an issue for him.
Deep ball accuracy needs some work.
But, I just think that they're having problems with continuity and trying to get, them in a position to for Sims to look good.
Yeah.
It's all kind of scramble mode out there, the way things are going.
Well, and two, I don't think what people are accounting for. Mark, do you mind if I just go over some numbers real quick?
Absolutely.
Do it.
I broke down some numbers yesterday, and I think people are kind of understating the impact that Isaiah Garcia Castaneda and Trey Palmer had on this offense last year. Because when breaking down the 2-week totals last year with Trey Palmer and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, and then when I removed their numbers, and then versus this year. So with them, the first 2 weeks of last year, albeit against easier opponents, Northwestern, North Dakota, it was 274 yards per game passing. Without those two, it was 139 yards per game passing. This year, we're at 110. So that is this one thing we can point to right now based on these totals, because our rushing is increased. 299 versus 403 total yards, 4.4 yards per carry to 5.5. Snaps. This is another thing that we have to factor in. 2022, 135 snaps, 23, 119. So turnovers, 8 versus 2. That's why I think people maybe should not panic quite as much, because the defense, if you would have told us we've been leading the NCAA in sacks a year ago, we would have taken that, right? We've improved defense at every level, special teams. Our defense played well. It's just they had to play so much and spend so much time on the field trying to keep that offense off the field that eventually they just gave in. But against tougher competition, everything else has improved. And if I don't think people realize how big of a loss Trey Palmer was. Husker fans know that he was the deep ball guy, and he was honestly kind of the go-to guy in situations where we needed to get a first down. Jeff Sims, to me right now, doesn't have a true number one wide receiver. And I think that is a big key factor that people don't, most quarterbacks have a number one guy. Right now, nobody has established himself as that guy. And that's tough on a quarterback as well. And, I think a lot of what could be happening with Sims right now is mental. It's hard sometimes when you're making mistake after mistake you got to try to reset that in your mind. So yeah, but everything else, penalties, like everything else has improved, and it's just the offense isn't performing much different than it did last year with those removed. I know that's not an exact science, but still, we relied on Trey Palmer all of last season for our offense. That was half of Casey Thompson's passing yards were to Trey Palmer. So I think that's also something that people kind of need to take into account, because the turnovers last year, first 2 weeks, 2. This year, 8. Yeah. And that's been the difference. So that's why I think there's optimism. We're improving. It's just right now, we got to get the quarterback resolved.
Here was my immediate response when Jeff Sims transferred. And I'm sure I had this conversation here with Greg. I thought Casey Thompson was a better quarterback. Now, of course, it never crossed my mind to compare Casey Thompson and Jeff Sims before that, because there was no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
But now suddenly Jeff Sims is there. And now it wasn't like I thought Casey Thompson's Tom Brady and Jeff Sims is nobody. Like, there's no comparison. I didn't think that it wouldn't be a quarterback battle, but just based on watching both of them, not every week, but considerable amount of time, it was my impression that Casey Thompson was a better quarterback. Well, I had
we
a few
didn't see
people.
that in spring though, because he was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt. Yeah,
Just the whole spring, and that just put the writing on the wall.
and so I was a little surprised when the move was made and Casey Thompson left, and I thought, well, I didn't promote myself as some expert on either one of them. Just that was my impression, that Thompson was a slightly better quarterback. Now,
Well,
obviously, not nearly as mobile.
We both thought that Casey Thompson would be the guy, and Sims would back him up, and
Yes.
that Sims would take the job next year. That's what you thought. But
The
think
last game that Casey Thompson played was against an Iowa defense that was one of the top 5 to 10 defenses in America, and he went 20 of 30 for 278 and 3 touchdowns.
yeah. Well, no, even after that Minnesota game, a good friend of mine from high school had texted me talking about why did we let Casey Thompson go, and he actually put up passing stats.
I did the same thing. I tweeted out a passing stat
That wasn't a good
comparison.
look, bro.
Now, to Justin's point, no Trey Palmer. But Casey Thompson did lead the Big 12 in touchdown passes the year before at Texas.
8 of his touchdown passes too last year were to Trey Palmer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was almost half, I believe,
Sure.
too. So just so
They just don't have the firepower at receiver that with
we
the
had
injuries
last year.
they've had. It's just it's not a good looking room right now. A lot of uncertainties. So yeah.
Which like I understand why we compare Georgia Tech Jeff to Nebraska Casey. But to me, unless there's the same receiver room or at least talent that's similar or improved, it's really just hard to compare them head to head because we really don't know the progress that Sims has made, because I don't think he's had a chance to show it, just because that factor. And I think that's a lot of what has to do with it is just the receiver room's injured. We have a lot of injuries. We have a lot of young guys. It's just a very young receiver group. And I think that's also what gives Matt Rhule some confidence going forward, is that this receiver room is going to continue to develop and get better. But I think Marcus Washington has to kind of take the lead here and kind of establish himself as a one receiver in this offense.
Him and Billy Camp.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Billy. Yeah, exactly.
I will say that Jeff Sims threw a really nice ball, and the game was still in doubt. I don't remember. I know which side of the field they were running on, so it must have been the second quarter. And he drilled in a throw in tight coverage down the seam to Alex Bullock on like a 3rd and 8 or something. That would have been a 20-some yard gain that was dropped. Game was still in doubt. They would have kept the ball, converted around midfield.
Was that I know that Bullock also dropped one on a 4th and 20 at the end of the game. Was that at the end of the game?
No, the play I'm talking about, the game was still up for grabs. It was still.
It might have been that 4th and 20. I think I might just have a wrong idea but yeah, Bullock when he laid there on the ground, like when he dropped it, there was a couple of them that Bullock dropped in his hands, but I know the sideline throw he made was really good too. But I'm trying to remember exactly which one you're talking about. But there was a couple of those too. Yeah. So he's shown the ability to make some good throws.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
guys need to come through for him.
That also shakes his confidence, because that also is just goes on him. The people, he still gets blamed for that.
Just with the territory. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is what I didn't understand, and I jumped on here at halftime to give my amateurish offensive coordinator spiel on what I would do in the second half. So I in no way promote myself as an offensive coordinator, but I thought, okay,
just run the damn ball.
Well, it started with that.
We average over 5 a carry.
It's what, 13-0 at that point? I think it's 13-0. This is before Sims ran for the touchdown in the third quarter. It's halftime, 13-0.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, he's a mess trying to read this defense and deliver the ball downfield. Obviously, slam the ball straight ahead. This team gave up 8 yards per carry against TCU on the ground, number one. Number two, Jeff Sims had 19 carries. Now, I know a few of those were designed pass plays that he just took off and ran, but still, he ran the ball 19 times for 91 yards against the Minnesota defense that's a lot better than Colorado's defense. So I thought, I couldn't remember a designed run for him in the first half.
Yeah, we had 2 the whole game.
Yeah, that was I didn't understand that. I thought, especially after the touchdown run, that it was just going to be a heavy dose of that, because again, Sims can be one of those guys that wears the defense down. He's what, 6'4"? He's a big guy.
Well, he's a big dude.
Him running into those smaller, defensive backs and
looks like Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he's a big boy. And then him running into the center of that line, that would have also been a chance to wear them down. But also, like, I think Anthony Grant should have got another shot in this game, because I think
sorry to see him not get a chance to play.
I think his physicality would have made a huge difference in that game, just because we needed to be physical with Colorado. And
there you go with Gabe Urban coughing it up.
Yeah, and then to Mark's point, in that first half, I felt like coming into it, that might have been our game plan, was to pound the rock, but with the turnovers, it took us completely out of that game plan. And we ended up having to play from behind, and we couldn't throw the ball. And so you kind of fight an uphill battle at that point when you can't get out of your own way and you're out of your game plan. I think
they had a couple of chances there to take command of the game.
100%.
And just do it.
Yeah. Our opportunity to take advantage of Colorado's, mistakes that they were making was the first half. We didn't. We turned the ball over and gave them 13 points. on the second half, Colorado took advantage of us making mistakes, and that was the difference. They took advantage of those opportunities, and we didn't. And it was a tale of two halves. You know, I feel like we outplayed them in the first half and had nothing to show for it.
My third point in my offensive proposal there at halftime, run the back, Irvin, and then again, Sims, 19 carries against Minnesota. Where's that? Number 3, though, was you're going to have to throw the ball at some point, but make it all predetermined. Slip screens, delayed screens, just where he's not deciding where to throw the ball. It's predetermined.
Get it out fast.
That's fast, and that's who you're throwing to. You don't have a decision to make. A lot of that.
It's so slow developing. They need to just get him to get rid of the ball right away.
That's what he did with
right there, and everything is just developing way too slow, and just giving them the defense time to get into the backfield and disrupt everything.
Yeah, that's why I feel like Billy Kemp had success in the first half, because they were just getting him the ball quickly and letting him work in space. I don't know why they didn't utilize him more, because he had a really good first half and was barely utilized in the second. I think that's Billy Kemp's good role, is to get in that slot and hit him with something quick and just let him work in space.
Yep.
And that'll open up the outside and stuff, so. But he flashed in that game for sure.
Folks, we appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. This is our Tuesday Nebraska show that we deliver each and every, you got it, Tuesday. And 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central. We got Justin Adams right next to me. He delivers post-game here at the Voice of College Football after each and every Huskers game. Greg Peterson, Husker Online. Check out Greg's work right here on YouTube, or you can go to huskeronline.com. You were at practice today, right, Greg?
Mm-hmm.
How much practice were you able to take in?
Post practice. No, we don't get to see anything during the season. No.
Yeah.
No eyes on the prize during the regular season.
I missed today's practice stuff. I don't know if they posted it live like they usually do, but did he allude to anything?
Yeah, we have it all.
What's that?
Yeah, we have it all up there.
Oh, okay.
Plus the practice report I just got done with about an hour before we went on live.
So did he allude to anything like about kind of the questions that we have this week about it, or did he kind of keep it close to the vest, similar to Monday?
I heard from Rhule yesterday. It was just players today.
Oh, it was just players today. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah.
We heard from Thomas Fedoni and Ben Scott and Gabe Urban.
Yeah.
Urban and Cameron Linhart and Isaac Gifford and Micah Boyd. So
the whole thing was interesting and weird about the whole post game press conference, where there was really trying to just create some friction and stuff that didn't happen between Rhule and Colorado. Did y'all see that?
Yes.
About the midfield where they prayed
because they went out to midfield before the game and
pray, and Shadur came over and
he got all uptight, and then Coach Rhule actually asked him to join him.
Yeah, I wanted.
I don't know why he come up after the game, talking about his dad getting disrespected and stuff. That was bizarre.
His comments was about the transfer portal. He didn't mention Dion. He's talking about quick turnaround.
Oh, I remember Coach Rhule's comments on that. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing there intended towards Dion at all. So
that was just odd to me.
I don't know why that's an issue with those guys, but
yeah, me neither.
Rhule's never said anything but respectful things about Coach Sanders. So
yeah, that was also an interesting thing. And are the players they're not like the players speaking about that at all or anything like that or anything? Okay,
not even an issue to them.
I figured Rhule would kind of have that straight, but just that could also cause, because people are talking about it, posting everywhere, but it's just any distractions limiting those.
Yeah, it's
The
ridiculous.
biggest thing. So
yeah, they're just like they tried to make something out of nothing there. I don't get it.
Yeah, and
I mean, go enjoy your win and don't bring anything up like that about being disrespected and stuff.
I think that's the mentality they're playing with. Is just everybody against us type of deal, and I guess that's the kind of what's getting them motivated and stuff. And I think Rhule's just approaches is more so just stay on task and do what we're asking of you and focus here, But Northern Illinois should hopefully.
More than halfway through the show, we haven't even talked about the upcoming game yet.
Well, my thoughts about that is too with the quarterback situation. I feel like whatever quarterback plays in this game, if they play well, like I think if a quarterback gets in rhythm, I wonder if he's going to ride the hot hand, because I think this game is important to just get the offense into some momentum. I think that's what we're lacking right now. And I think if they get into a flow of the offense, maybe we can start to see, some of his less of Jeff Sims thinking and more of him just, reacting and letting the play evolve. And, his decision making has been slow. Like he's processing everything, I feel like, slow. And I think he might just be thinking too much. So whatever quarterback we get into this game, I think that's an interesting thing going forward, is to see how that happens if Harburg plays well.
I was talking to a colleague about that earlier today, and I thought that my opinion is I think all three of them should play. Get them all, if Sims is able to go, bring in some relief, let both of those other guys get some reps, and we get more of a competition going here and see who looks better. That's what I would kind of do right now. Quarterback
committee. Yeah. Those always work.
Let's start holding an open competition during games now.
Man. But yeah, no, I'm very optimistic going into to this coming week. Again, I'm not down on the team. I feel very good about the team. I think over the things that we needed to fix last year, we've improved upon every single thing but turnovers. We got a kicker, Tristan Alvano. I know he missed that kick, but I understand it's a better kicker than we've had in years. We had open walk-on tryouts for our kicker position. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about it.
Buschini just was not good
at all.
Colorado, unfortunately, but
nope. But we get to see
that's just one game.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting though, because the last time we saw Rocky Lombardi was in a battle of field goals against Michigan State.
Michigan State, yeah. So, they're talking about a team that came in here in 2017 and won. So
yeah,
and always has a lot of Nebraska flavor on there because Dan Jackson.
Yep.
Who works there, and they have three Nebraskans on their roster right now. Cade Haberman, former West Side player, starts on their defensive line. So then they have two Millard South kids that are redshirt freshmen.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
No, they got a really good defensive line. So this is not a cupcake game by any means.
Their offense has struggled, but their defense has looked decent.
They know how to beat Power 5 schools, though. They've had a tradition.
Against us.
Well, yes, this is quite the distinction this year. They've played Boston College in Southern Illinois. Guess who they beat and who they lost to?
Yeah,
exactly.
They beat Boston College. It was a rivalry game.
27-24. They lose to Southern Illinois, so they beat a Power 5, but they have become the first victim as an FBS school to lose to an FCS school this year.
Yeah.
Yep. That was
that's a rivalry game too, though. You got to take that into account.
That was a vote of confidence, but it's one of those things that, like, until we handle the team the way we're quote unquote supposed to, I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic because it hasn't happened in a while. So we should, for all intents and purposes, win this game. But everything breaks down in our favor. But kind of last week it did too. It's just you can't turn the ball over against Northern Illinois. You're going to lose too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but night game in Lincoln though, so we're going to have a big crowd pumped up at least, and
Absolutely.
Atmosphere will be great, and you'll have a lot of recruits on the sidelines, and Nebraska will take full advantage of that. I mean, that'll be kind of cool to see. We really haven't seen this new coaching staff on a actual official visit weekend during the game. So
this is the weekend. This is when Brandon Baker visits, I believe, right?
Yeah, and then he's going to make a decision here coming
24th.
up. Next in a couple weeks. So
yep,
this is his final visit, and he's number one offensive lineman out there in the country. So
that's a big thing to follow. Yeah, we've been waiting for this because he extended his recruitment just to take this visit. So I think Nebraska's in the back seat here, behind Ohio State and Texas. And I think Nebraska would rather have Grant Bricks anyway. Oh yeah, Bricks has been the main target for longer.
The bigger fish that you would want, a guy that's only 90 miles away. And,
exactly.
Is also one of the top offensive tackles out there. So
yep.
I think Nebraska would be fine losing Baker and getting Bricks.
So it'd be it's going to be important.
Or get both of them, that'd be pretty sweet too.
Yeah. It's going to be important to just put on a good performance in front of these recruits. That's the biggest thing too, is can't let it get too far away from us, even though we are making progress in areas. The wins do need to come, a little bit here.
I know one good thing about Bricks is that I went and saw Carter Nelson play Friday night, and I interviewed him after the game, and he said that he talks to Grant Bricks every day. So
oh, nice, yeah,
working him hard.
Awesome. Sorry.
We've got Discord available. Discord link where you can talk college football 24/7, 365. What you need to do is one of two things. You can either be a YouTube member over on the national channel. Be a YouTube member. We'll get you the Discord link. You also get my picks. And also on Patreon, same deal. We've set it up so you get the same benefits on both platforms. So patreon.com/MarkRogersTV. 27-14 against the spread. So sign up there and we get you the Discord link, and you can go from there. Rocky Lombardi in his 6th season.
I thought it was 7th.
Crazy. Like Tate Martell all over again.
Yeah, there's a few of those guys around now.
Yeah. It's but last time, well, albeit it was in the snow, but it was tough sledding for Rocky Lombardi last time. It was tough sledding for us too, but so I'm just hoping it's a little bit of the same. But I mean, Rocky Lombardi hasn't looked good, to put it best. I think he has 1 touchdown to 3 interceptions. So
sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was never a great passer of the football. Yeah. I'm just saying, they're in a similar situation. So
I feel a quarterback duel coming on Saturday night.
Yeah, right. No, I still have confidence in Sims. I still have faith in Sims. I think he'll get it right. I just think it's going to be a slow progression. You look at Anthony Richardson last year; he got better as the season went on in Florida. I'm thinking that if he can just get this fumbling issue out of his head, that he can start just playing free and loose, and I think that's going to make all the difference.
I just hope he doesn't have the yips.
Yeah, that's the mental part of it, because once you get the yips, especially, that's you're overthinking it, and that's when you're just going to make the mistake more. So but I think that's going to be a testament to Rhule to kind of keep his head right and try to keep him focused.
Let's look on the bright side. Who's playing well on this team?
Cameron Linhart right now is playing amazing.
Most everybody is outside of our passing game. I think every level is improved.
Yeah, I mean that all the young defensive linemen have just come out to play and making big marks here. Riley Van Poppel is another guy that's really come up big, and I mean, defensively, I think they're playing really, really well.
Defensive backs, especially.
Yeah,
they're all out there making plays.
I mean, there's guys. Yeah, I mean, you just take your pick.
I mean,
even Dwight Boodle came in
Yeah.
and played very well, and he's a guy that as a true freshman who's going to play all year.
Yep.
He's just a 4-game guy, and then redshirt. So we got a ton of guys on that defense that are playing top-notch football right now.
Yeah, I think that's our best. I think defensive back is our best position group right now, and probably our most improved. So, defensive back, I've been very impressed with. But the defensive line, actually, I'm sorry, most improved is probably our defensive line, but defensive back is probably our best position group. But last year, the biggest issue was pass rush. We could not get a pass rush for the life of us. And this year,
Now you lead the nation.
11 sacks leading the nation. That right there is so big. I do believe it's harder to fix and build a bad defense than it is to coach up and scheme an offense. That's in my opinion. So
there was all these people questioning the 3-3-5, what Tony White does, and he's proven that you can play this defense and be very successful with it.
It's working well, and people don't forget that Nebraska is very, very talented on their roster.
Absolutely.
And we will be here with post-game, courtesy Justin, after the game against Northern Illinois. Greg, of course, will be at the stadium doing what he does best.
Yep.
I'll be there late, yes.
Can I touch on the comment on the screen real quick?
Go to it.
So, Logan, I don't know if the comment you're referring to was yesterday when he said they're hard to. I think what he was saying is it's hard to predict turnovers when you're game planning and when you're going into a game and your idea and your vision of how the game's going to go. I think what Rhule was saying is that those are unpredictable. So the things that he thought would work and the things that he said coming in maybe weren't the issue. It was more so that through, like I said, us off our game plan and really kind of got us out of sorts and out of sync. So I think it was more so that than him saying he didn't see him coming. So just on that comment, because I did hear Rhule mention that yesterday as well.
All right. Anything else we need to hit on tonight?
I mean, I don't want to bring up the Colorado stuff. I could talk all day on that, but I just think again, just every
you watched the game.
Not any more than the first time.
Oh, good for you.
But no, but I watched a little bit here and there, just bits and pieces. But the thing to take away is, I think Husker fans right now, rightfully so, are a little upset. But again, like I said, I think a lot of the impatience is carrying over from Frost and 5 years of being told that we need to be patient. He's going to turn it around. He's going to get there. And I think we need to think back again to week 2 of Scott Frost's first year and the patience that we had with him. I believe that should still be the patience that we have with Matt Rhule, and understand that all offseason we were happy with Matt Rhule, even elated with Matt Rhule. We everything he was doing was good. And the fact that we can sit here this year and we can point to one thing, whereas last year we were pointing to a number of things that were the issue. And it seems like we can point to one thing this year as the clear issue. It's turnovers. And that is something that can be fixed. And it's a lot easier to fix something like that than it is to fix a broken culture and a broken team, like the situation we were in last year. So that's why I think I'm more optimistic this year than I have been in previous years. And it's not even close. Just looking at it objectively and trying to remove emotion.
Well, look at it this way, too. You got 60-some new players and a whole new coaching staff than what you had last year. So,
exactly.
It takes a little time for everybody to be on the same page. So, yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world being 0-2. You'd rather be 1-1, which you probably should be. But, yeah, it is what it is right now. And, the rest of the season starts for them on Saturday. So,
yeah. But I think if the team was playing like this and 2-0, and they were 2-0, I think people would be overall happy. I just think we're too focused on wins and losses, where this team isn't in a position to be focused on that yet. They need to improve in a lot of areas before they can start and learn to win.
They need to learn to win is the key. Yeah.
So instead of winning 3 and 4 here and there, we can start winning 7, 8, 9, 10 because it's an established culture of winning, and so that's a big part of it too.
I mean, one thing that Coach Rhule was harping on yesterday is that they want to win so badly that they overlook some other things at times. So, yeah. I mean, they're scared to make mistakes because they want to win so badly.
But he does acknowledge that, and that's a breath of fresh air that he acknowledges that the coaches and specifies the coaches' mistakes. And he doesn't just go up there and say, this is on us. He kind of gives us some insight into why and admits kind of the mistakes they made. And I think that's also very helpful. And another reason Husker fans should be optimistic, because he's self-aware and he does communicate it, to the fans that he's still growing as a coach too. So,
and look, you got the ultimate get right week coming up right now.
Exactly.
Play a decent team and show that you can win a game, and everything gets a little better from there.
Yep.
I'm a bit surprised that they're only a 10-point favorite.
Yeah, I think that's more so. I think that's more so Vegas reacting to the play on the field. I mean, naturally that's what they're there to do, but it could be one of those things where they're trying to get money in.
Nebraska hasn't shown that they can score many points, so you get 3 points for playing at home, and then Vegas is picking them by 7. That seems right to me.
Yeah, I don't think we've earned a bigger spread than 10 at the moment, but so I can't be too mad at it.
Or more, 14 points in a game to,
But I don't think it'll be that close.
I don't think so either, but that's why they play the games.
Yep. I think Northern Illinois will have a hard time scoring points.
I agree.
They sure did last week, and that one was 14-11.
Yeah. Yep.
Sounds like a Nebraska type game.
The barn burner.
All right, folks. Appreciate y'all being here. Make it on back next week. And for those of you who have joined us late, all you have to do is wait for the video to post, which should be immediately. So you can do that and watch what you missed. Again, Greg, you can find on Husker Online, posting news conference and player interviews. And Justin joins us right here at the Voice of College Football after every Nebraska game. And I'm sure that was a fun one on Saturday to talk to the faithful after the game.
It was, and especially trying to immediately remove emotion, and still trying to, I'm still trying to be as positive and optimistic as I can, but it's tough when you're the messenger because people aren't really taking it too well when I'm saying this stuff. But if I can bring numbers and I can bring stuff to the table that kind of help, allude to my point, maybe some of them can kind of back off, because I do think that's important too. I do think, coaches and players, like I said, pay attention to Twitter and they, people who get on there and bash players, bash coaches and stuff like that. It's a bad look on the fan base overall, and that affects recruiting too. It's all of that goes into it. So, I do think just people need to understand that this wasn't going to be an overnight fix, and people are acting like it was supposed to be.
All right, guys. Appreciate you doing this as always. And we will make it on back here next Tuesday at 7 Eastern and 6 Central. For Greg,
hopefully
for Justin, we will see you next time.
All right.
Hopefully they're 1 and 2 next Tuesday.